Every artist who wants to quit their day job and sell art full-time should follow Sahily's story. I'm Professor Steven. I teach independent artists how to build a business around their work. And today I'm doing an art business audit for Sahily's business, Pigmented Press. I'm going to show you what she's doing right, what's getting in the way, and exactly what I'd do if I were running her business. If you're any kind of artist who wants to quit your day job and go full-time, you're going to want to see this one. Sahily is a first-generation Cuban-American printmaker based in Seattle. She makes colorful, whimsical linocut prints and paper goods inspired by her Caribbean roots, pop culture, and what she describes as adding a dash of glitter to the everyday. She started her art journey during the pandemic after years of prioritizing a corporate creative career because of the values that her family instilled around hard work and stability. But she landed on printmaking as her medium and has been building Pigmented Press for about 2 years. Right now she's selling at in-person markets, through Etsy, and through a genuinely creative channel, vending machines placed inside small businesses. She has 4 machines placed, 2 of them permanent, and she's got a licensing agreement with a gift shop. She's also been selected for an artist residency in France in spring of 2027. Sahily's goal is to replace her corporate income with her art business and go full-time. She's got a ways to go to get there, but Sahily has more going for her than I think she realizes. Here's what I found. Before I get into my diagnosis and what I'd change, I want to show you 3 strengths that Sahily's already built. Everything I'll recommend is built on top of these 3 things. So if you're an artist building your own business, I want you to think about what your 3 core strengths might be. Sahily's first strength is a powerful brand story. She's a first-generation Cuban-American artist whose work is rooted in her Caribbean identity. Everything that Sahily's built and everything she will build starts there. Her story is specific, it's authentic, and it's impossible to replicate. And when you look at her work, you feel it. The colors, the boldness, the joy in it. She describes what she brings her audience as escapism. And she's found a market of creative women in the US who are hungry for exactly what she's offering. She just needs to find more of them. Sahily's second strength is her sales and marketing talent. She describes herself as animated and kooky in person. When you look at her content and her platforms, that's exactly what you see. She's warm, she's funny, she's genuinely compelling, and her Etsy shop is beautifully presented. Her vending machines are retail ready, and I mean that seriously. They look like they belong in a Barnes & Noble, not just a small coffee shop in Seattle. She even named her vending machines. That's the kind of brand instinct you can't teach. And she already knows how to tell a story that makes people want to be part of it. So if you're watching this and you feel like you don't have that natural sales and marketing ability, I want you to hear how Sahily does it. She's not pitching, she's just being herself. And that's exactly how the best salespeople and brand managers do it. Sahily's third strength is her experience with retail partnerships. She's already navigated vending machine partnerships, retail placements, and a licensing agreement with a gift shop. That means she knows how to walk into a business, make a case for her work, and structure a deal. And that experience is going to become one of her most valuable assets as her business grows, because the path to replacing her corporate income will likely require a larger retail partnership. And she's already proven that she can do it. So Sahily has a business with revenue. She has retail partnerships. She has a brand story that connects. Her work is strong. Her presentation is strong. Her personality shines everywhere. So what's the problem? The problem is a disconnect between the type of business she's chosen to build in and how she's actually building it. Sahily's selling luxury printed paper goods. Her work is brilliant, and she's able to get higher prices for it than the commodity products that she's selling against. That's a testament to her work and her brand. But the reality is she's selling in a commodity market, and that puts a price ceiling on everything that she sells. Her business needs high volume, thousands of customers a year to replace her corporate income, even at her higher prices. But she's running her business like a high-priced custom art business. She's selling at in-person markets. She's placing vending machines in small mom-and-pop shops and at local events. She's got an offering on Etsy, but her digital presence isn't large enough to drive enough people to it. None of those choices are wrong. They're just wrong for Sahily and for the goal she has of replacing her corporate income. So the question is, how does Sahily start to run a business that can achieve the scale she needs to quit her job? And that's what I'll dig into in part 2. Sahily's a marketer, and I see evidence of that not just in the talent I see in her content, but in some of the choices I see she's made. She knows she needs to build more volume, and like a lot of marketers, she's made some choices to attract a broader audience with broad themes. Joy and whimsy, 90s nostalgia. She describes her audience as viewers and her mission. She does a great job of not excluding anyone. But by not excluding anyone, she's also missing an opportunity to really connect with anyone. And this is a lesson for all artists. If you speak to everybody, you get noticed by nobody. Sahily's Cuban and Caribbean roots are foundational to who she is as an artist. And they're only a small part of the brand story that she's telling right now. Yet that story is exactly what unlocks her pricing power in a commodity market. So if I were running her business, I would start by focusing in on her Cuban and Caribbean roots. But Professor Steven, what about the need for volume? You said Sahily's business needs to get big to quit her job. How can you do that with a niche? Well, here's the counterintuitive part. That brand story unlocks volume too. Here's how. When you focus your business and your brand on a niche market, you're able to create the feeling for buyers that what you're selling was made specifically for them. They pay more and they come back to buy more. because nobody else in the world creates that feeling but you. And then they tell people about that experience because it says something about who they are. That cycle of high price purchase, repeat purchase, and brand advocacy within a focused community ends up being a self-reinforcing growth engine for your business. It builds volume without you having to be involved at all. You can't build that with broad appeal. You can't build it without serving someone specific with your business. When you're too broad, growing sales volume becomes a daily fight. So where should she focus? I see two potential audiences where focusing on Sahyli's Cuban and Caribbean roots would unlock both high prices and high volume. The first is an audience Sahyli already described to me as her core buyers, even if she hasn't fully narrowed her entire business on them yet. It's creative women seeking escape. Women who are drawn to the Caribbean energy, the color, and the vibe, and want to experience it closer to home as moments of escape from their day-to-day struggles. That's a big market, and Sahyli's roots as a Cuban-American artist tell that audience that she can help them find moments of escape better than anyone else in the world. Sahyli's second potential market are creative women who are also part of the Caribbean diaspora. For that market, the link to Sahyli's roots is even more strong. They see themselves directly reflected in her story and in her work, and that's why they buy. That's a smaller market. And the question is it too niche? And I want every woman running a business to hear this. Stop listening to men, except this one time. Women who start businesses to serve other women are often told by men that their business is too niche to be successful. For women of color, or women who come from any other identity group beyond your gender, that advice gets even more intense. You're leaving out half the market by excluding men. And if you're narrowing even further by another type of identity, you're really in trouble, right? That advice is frankly nonsense. Let's look at the math. Sahyli needs maybe a couple thousand customers a year buying prints to quit her job. The population of women from the Caribbean diaspora living in the United States is growing fast, and it's approaching 5 million women. That's a large enough market to support a business that enables Sahyli to quit her day job. And it's a place she can build a foundation that she can expand on later if she wants to. So both market choices actually unlock both pricing and volume. I don't know which one's the right market for Sahyli's business, only she can answer that through experimentation. But I do know that she has a strong enough foundation and a head start to be successful with wherever she goes. Once Sahyli has chosen the right market to go after, her second priority is to grow a large audience there. But she needs to focus that growth online with more consistent content marketing instead of spending her time at in-person events. Her audience has to be digital, and the reason's pretty simple. She's based in Seattle, and her audience is geographically dispersed. Her business can't get big enough with a focus on events in Seattle unless she completely changes it to a different business. That doesn't mean she has to stop events entirely, but she should focus on events that provide opportunities for content creation. Her events should be productions that showcase her engaging personality and her brand to a broader digital audience. Maybe that takes some pressure off having to sell stuff there too. Right now, Sahyli has about 1,000 followers each on TikTok and Instagram, but her content's brilliant. Her work and her personality shine. Her brand immediately comes through. She's just not posting often enough to get traction on either platform, probably because she's scattered managing vending machine placements, in-person events, and her day job. Something has to give, and the day job can't yet. So it has to be events and vending placements, just for now, so her digital audience can become her immediate priority. But Sahyli doesn't want to leave vending machines behind entirely, because her first two priorities, focusing her brand and building a large digital audience, actually unlocks larger retail opportunities than anything that she's seen yet. I'll cover how I'd go after those in part 3. Sahyli sells her work primarily at in-person events and through vending machine placements at small shops, but that won't build the scale she needs to quit her corporate job. So I recommend that she focus on building a large digital audience among creative women with her identity as a Cuban-American artist the main focus. But she shouldn't leave vending behind completely, because I see an opportunity for her business to get even larger by moving from mom and pop shops to larger national retail chains. I love supporting small shops, and I can see that Sahyli does too. But if she wants to quit her day job, Sahyli's next retail placement should look more like Barnes & Noble than Bob and Nana. But how does she do that? Well, she already has a lot of the foundation. She knows how to place vending machines in retail shops. She knows what it takes to manage and land those relationships. She can operationalize a vending machine. She understands why shops want her work, and she understands the experience that her work and her machines create for their shoppers. And her vending machines look ready for a national placement. I mean, they're beautiful. Look at them. What she's missing is the brand connection and the large audience that would sweeten the deal for a large retailer. She's missing the first two priorities that I recommended. If she can prove that she has a large national audience who want to buy her work at their retail locations, retail placement becomes easy. She can do that by connecting with a large audience digitally. But that doesn't mean she should wait until that audience is built before she starts making connections with large retailers. If building connections like that sounds intimidating, I want you to hear this. The skills you've built selling your work at in-person events are the same skills that will help you build relationships with buyers at major retailers. They're people too, who will also be enamored with your story as an artist, and they'll see the opportunity you present to them as something they want for their shoppers. Building those relationships and getting large retail placement decisions take time, so it's best to start now. And putting yourself out there now is likely to lead to opportunities for placement faster than you might think. Your brand, your personality, and your art are the core of what you're offering to them. Those all exist right now. They're valuable right now. What's missing is your relationship with buyers. So go meet some buyers. So how do you do that? I do two things. First, go shopping in Seattle. Walk through national stores where you could see your work selling. Talk to the people who work there. Ask them about their customers, about what they buy. Tell them what you're doing and get their feedback. You're not pitching yet, you're learning, and you're building relationships. And second, I would find actual retail buyers on LinkedIn and connect with them there. Again, you're not pitching, you're building relationships and you're learning. Opportunities will present themselves when you're authentically you and when you approach people with curiosity. So here's what I want every artist watching to take from Sahily's story. If your business isn't large enough to quit your day job yet, I want you to examine the business you're building now, and I want you to think about how it needs to look in the future. If you're running a business now as a small business, it will stay small. Building a business that's large enough to support you means your day-to-day activities need to focus on building a brand connection with a large audience that unlocks the scale that only comes with partnerships. It's not about you or the quality of your work. You don't have to become a different person or a different kind of artist. You just have to become a different kind of business operator. If you'd like me to help you figure out the kind of business operator you need to become, you can book an audit with me. The link's in my bio when you're ready. So Sahily, thank you so much for letting me dig into your business. I really enjoyed learning from you, and you have everything that you need to build a business that supports you full time. Your brand story is powerful. Your sales instincts are a genuine competitive advantage, and you've already proven that you can walk into a business, you can make the case, you can come out with a deal. All you need now is scale. So focus your brand story on that audience that connects most deeply with it. Scale through digital content and the right kinds of retail partners that your work deserves.